Welcome, everyone. We're thrilled to give you a preview of the Enneagram Las Vegas Community Gathering happening October 3rd and 4th at the South Point Hotel and Casino. This event brings together world-class Enneagram practitioners and therapists for 2 days of powerful connection, learning, and growth. Today, I'm joined by one of our featured presenters, Michelle Joy. Michelle is a licensed marriage and family therapist who specializes in helping couples transform their communication and connection through the Enneagram. At the gathering, she'll be teaching a session designed to help couples move past the communication roadblocks that each Enneagram type faces and discover practical ways to feel more united and fulfilled in their relationships. So, Michelle, we are so thrilled to have you here today. I'm really interested to know, I know you are a marriage and family therapist. Why did you incorporate the Enneagram into your practice?
Hi, thank you for having me, by the way. So the way I included the Enneagram, I have to back up a little bit and tell you that I discovered the Enneagram back in 1998. Somebody gave me a book and I was like, oh my, I found my type right away. It was incredible. And then I started seeing couples 4 or 5 years later. I saw my first couple in the year 2002. And thankfully, I had already known the Enneagram at that point. So I was able to bring the Enneagram in at the very start of my career when I started understanding and working with couples. So it happened a long time ago.
You remember the book that you read?
Yeah, I absolutely do. It was by Don Riso and Russ Hudson. I know that. I think it was just called Personality Types. It was the one that was out in the late 90s.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it was somebody handed me a book and said, "Here, read this type. I think this sounds like so and so." And I was like, "It sounds like so and so, but it's actually me as well." I mean, it was just I thought, how can somebody read my soul so closely like this? So thankfully, like I said, when I started seeing couples are very challenging, they can be, and multifaceted. So I needed all the tools I can get, and the Enneagram was one of them, as well as differentiation, which I'll talk to you about as well.
Oh, yeah. And I know there's so many couples learn their Enneagram type and think that's just the key. But you're saying that I know one time you'd mentioned awareness isn't enough. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think awareness alone is enough for some couples. If we wear our defenses very lightly and maybe we have a very secure attachment, we don't have a lot of trauma in our lives, we're very flexible, we're really good at repair and emotional regulation and things, maybe awareness alone can be really helpful for couples. But that's not what I'm seeing across the board for most of us. And for the majority of the couples that I meet with, awareness alone is not enough because we have our defenses. And so under stress, our stress will hijack any awareness that we have. And so when we're under stress in a relationship, when we have differences that collide, and when I have to tell you what I mean when I say differences, I'm not talking about what kind of restaurant the couple likes to eat at. Oh, you want to go here? And I want to go, oh, we have a difference. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a difference in how each person is holding reality, like a difference in perspective. So when that comes up, the couples say, well, we have a problem because you want this and I want that. That's not even the problem. The problem is how the couple handles the difference. And how the couple handles the difference often has little to do with each person being aware of their Enneagram type. It's that they get hijacked by their Enneagram type, even while they're aware of it. Because when we're under stress, the very first thing that we do is one of two things. Either, well, we seem to have a difference here in how we're holding reality. And number one option is, I'm right. You're wrong and I'm right. So the couple's trying to find one prevailing truth, even though there's two people. They're trying to find one prevailing truth. And I'm right, you're wrong, and here's why. And it causes so much damage in relationships. And it isn't accurate. There's two people. Or the second one is, I'm just going to cave in and give in. I'm a people pleaser. I'm going to go along to get along here. And that's a problem because we're not making room for ourselves. But these are very common strategies that couples do when they come upon a collision of differences, and neither one works well. And I suppose which one we do tends a little bit on our Enneagram type, although each of the types can do either one of those. But this is bringing me to, I'm talking right now about a concept called differentiation, which is what we need to bring into our relationship right alongside the Enneagram. So back in 2002, two things happened. Number one, I saw my very first couple. And number two, I started working with Doctors Ellen Bader and Peter Pearson of the Couples Institute. So there are two psychologists married, and they came up with something called the developmental model of couples therapy. And it essentially states that couples relationships pass through 5 different stages. And and they mirror early human development, actually. So I'm just going to tell you about the first two stages really quickly. So the first stage is symbiosis. It's when we feel like we're the same. So couples say, you complete me and we're one, and things like that, and it feels like we're one. Well, the second stage is called differentiation, and that's when the couples start to notice their differences. And again, it's a collision of a difference in perspective at that moment. And that's when the couples start to say, I'm right and you're wrong, or I'm going to cave in to keep peace. So differentiation is really the capacity in that moment to hold on to oneself and my authenticity, while also understanding you at the same time. And the Enneagram really helps shape how that looks. But differentiation is actually really, really essential. I talked to Dan Siegel about it. He's a neurobiologist and a psychiatrist, and he talks about brain integration. And I asked him, how does one get an integrated brain? And he said, well, it's differentiation on one hand and it's linkage on the other. And so in a relationship, differentiation is the capacity to get where my partner's coming from, even and especially when I disagree, even and especially if I don't agree. Can I hear where they're coming from without getting defensive, without shutting down, without telling them they're wrong, without caving in? And what I'm telling you right now, our Enneagram type shapes all of that. And also, can I speak my truth to you? And can I do it, or am I too afraid of conflict? Can I speak my truth to you, but I do it in a way where I'm critical of you, or I'm demanding of you, or that our Enneagram type also shapes that as well. So differentiation is really a returning back to wholeness. It's helping us return back to wholeness through and with our partner. It's also helping us slow down and step back into our own authenticity, because so long ago we had to suppress and repress parts of ourselves. And in that moment, when we did that with our caretaker, we weren't connected to ourselves and we weren't connected to them. So when we're in a relationship, we're being called to re-own these parts of ourselves, and differentiation helps with that. But our Enneagram type helps show where each type gets stuck with differentiation.
That's fascinating. That's really amazing. I can see how that can be a game changer as far as clarity and connection with yourself and with your partner. And I would also love to know how communication patterns show up in relationships. Can you give us a sneak peek of maybe one or two of those patterns?
Yeah, something else I'm going to be talking about in my presentation is the idea that I've noticed that we project through our Enneagram type. We project three different things onto our partner. And everything else that we project, it seems to go under one of these three categories. But one of the things that we project onto our partner is our self-perception. So here's a pattern: is our partner A and partner B, okay? Let's say partner A is a type 9, and they're telling partner B, a type 1, something like that they're frustrated about. And I'm having the couple talk to each other, and in the end I say, well, type 1, what did you hear your partner say? And type 1 will say, all I heard is how bad I am. And so that's an example of fusion. Like we are one. I'm telling you what you're saying about me through the lens of my type. Like I feel like I'm bad, but my type is telling me that you think I'm bad. And so the one will make that declaration, and that accusation, and then the 9 says, I'm never going to tell you anything again. And so those kinds of things can cause issues in relationships. Whereas differentiation would ask, let me actually ask you. I like to debunk these myths, and I'll say, would you turn to your partner and ask them if they think you're bad? Just point blank ask them. And the partner says, no, of course, you're the best person in the world, of course, And so then comes the question, okay, well, then what were you saying? And it's like, type 1, you are the subject matter, but your partner's trying to tell you something about their inner world. So can we separate out the two of you? And can you get curious about what they're saying and manage your own struggle that you have with your self-perception as it's coming up? And that's a muscle that gets developed. And that's why this is developmental. This is not behavioral. And awareness alone isn't enough. Like we have to sit with these moments and go through them through and with our partner together. And in that, we develop this resilience and these muscles. And it is a return back to wholeness if we stay with our partner through it.
Oh, that is amazing. Really, differentiation and the communication patterns. And even when couples come to you, do they already know their type, or is this something that you're also helping them navigate through?
Yeah, I would say not too many, maybe half and half. I would say know their type and some don't. And so I'm always really happy to introduce them to it and bring it into our work as well. So that's something I do too. That's something I introduce to almost every couple that I meet with.
Wow, that's great. So people who are coming to the gathering, whether they are familiar with their type or maybe they're not quite sure, like Why do you think this session could be a game changer for them?
Because it's really not going to be about just surface level tips and tricks about relationships. I think there's a time and a place for that for sure, but I'm going to go deep and we're going to get at the root of what's going on at the center of when a couple really struggles and they butt their heads. And I'm combining the Enneagram with something essential which I feel like is often the missing piece, which is differentiation. So combining these two, in my mind, is such a powerful blend to help get at the root of what's going on in a couple's relationship, get at the root of communication, conflict resolution, really creating the kind of relationship they truly want. It's showing them where the issue really is instead of, you just seem to be struggling because you want this and I want that. No, that's not the problem. The problem is how that's navigated, and differentiation and the Enneagram are such an amazing tool for getting through it.
Yeah, because the other side seems so general, but what you're doing, it really gets down to like you're saying, like the source into the root of it, and brings so much clarity and insight depending on their Enneagram type and who their partner is, because that, that makes all the difference in the world, whether it's, a 1 talking to a 1, or like you were saying, a 1 talking to a 9. It's completely different.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize again that this is developmental. If knowledge alone was enough, then we could say, okay, 8s, you heard it. I guess you need to soften up. So start doing that right now. And why don't you? Because you're aware of it now. That's not enough. It's not enough. I can tell you it's not enough. So we through and with our partner and coming to feel that safety of being vulnerable again and re-owning that part of ourselves, we can do that through and with our partner. So I call it developmental because, it's not behavioral. It's not just something that we're told and then we go do it.
Yeah. And at the end of this session, will people take something away where they could apply it in their everyday lives?
Yeah. So I go through each type. First of all, I'm going to set it up and go through into differentiation more than I am. Each type can kind of think, okay, where do I fall in this? And what are my habits? And what do I do? And then once I have that set up, and then I go into each type and say, here's what you tend to do when you speak to your partner. And it doesn't work so well. Like those are the exact things that cause issues. We wouldn't even know it. We're just doing what we're so used to. And then I'm going to say, what do you do when you're receiving your partner, when you're listening to them, and what kind of projections might you be doing? So I also give a tool called the differentiation ladder that each person can use to, when they're triggered, like in that moment when it's like, okay, I know I'm doing my type thing right now. What do I do next? And so that's a good tool to give them for what to do next.
Oh, that's an amazing tool, because oftentimes when we're in it, like when we don't know what to do, we just fall back into the old habits, right? I think this session is going to give couples such practical and powerful insights. Like already, like I can't wait to be a participant. I mean, I will obviously be there for those 2 days, but I am really excited that you're joining us. Friends, don't miss this opportunity to see Michelle Joy in person. This session is going to be so insightful and so powerful, with real practical tools that you can take away. And Michelle, anything else you'd like to add? I'm so grateful and honored that you joined us today and gave us a lot more details and insight about what your session is going to be about.
I can say it's going to be jam-packed with information. I don't waste any time. I get right to the point. So I hope to see you there.
Great. Thanks. And if you haven't registered yet, you can do so by going to our website. It is www.enneagramlasvegas.com, or you can also click the link below. Thanks so much. Thank you again, Michelle.
Thank you.